Good morning, good evening to you all. My name is Whitney Nakanjeko. I'm a facilitator at Girls for Tech and Innovation Africa, and I welcome you all to the Women and Girls Hearing Series talk show, powered to you by Girls for Tech and Innovation Africa. Our theme for today is the role of an individual, family, and school in regards to social problems. However, teachers play a vital role in guiding and preparing the young generation to be equipped with the knowledge to deal with them. And we believe that a teacher is a friend and a guide who also imparts good values in us. And in regards to our theme, social problems are conditions in which a society that makes it social problems are conditions in a society that make it difficult for people to achieve their full potential. This can be poverty, youth unemployment, gender inequalities, employment discrimination, child abuse, and neglect. As of today, the 29th of September, the 30th of September, we have this talk show to recognize the teachers, World Teachers Day, which is meant to be there next month in October 5th. And we are honored to host Miss Jarina Namatov. She's a very influential teacher and a facilitator at Girls for Tech and Innovation Africa. She's a wonderful businesswoman and she's passionate about STEM education. Miss Jarina, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Miss Whitney. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome. We are so glad to have you, Miss Jarina, today.
Thank you.
Yes, please. However, I would like us to have a discussion basing on our theme for today. What is the role of an individual, family, and school in regards to preventing social problems in our society? And I would like you to tell our viewers, tell us more about yourself, your career journey, and why did you choose this specific career? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Girls for Tech. I'm so pleased to be here today. I would say I'm representing the teachers, if I'm not mistaken. My name is Miss
Yes, you're
Jerina.
representing the teachers, Miss Jarina.
Okay. My name is Miss Jerina Namatovo. I'm a teacher by profession and a farmer, though that's by practice, and I'm into business. Um, I just like exploring very different things. I like exploring new things. I like venturing into different things and relating with different people. Um, when I was around 6 years, I lost my mother. So I have grown up with very different people. I've grown up in different families with different people. So that means I have learned a lot. I have learned to relate with different people. And I think that has also helped me a lot. That is why I can venture into very different things and be successful in them. So, why I chose this career journey? Growing up, I've grown up with women. Women, very successful women, very hardworking women, around three of them that have really been a pillar in my life. So these are women that I've always been looking up to. And being a teacher, like me choosing to be a teacher, is not because these women were teachers, no, but were teachers by profession, no. But these are women who have always been teaching. You know, teaching does not stop in class. Being a teacher, you don't have to hold chalk to go to the blackboard and teach. You don't have to do that. By being a teacher, you teach. We've seen long ago, when we were not yet born, we used to hear that those days when you were maybe coming from the well and you'd make a mistake, someone would find you and they discipline you. So I believe being a teacher, anyone is a teacher. Every person is a teacher. Everyone who is responsible over someone is a teacher. So some of the reasons I chose to be a teacher. Being a teacher, you change the world. And I love changing the world. I love changing people's lives. I love making people fall in love with different new things. And well, being a teacher, you can work anywhere. You can work anywhere. You can work with the government. You can work in different organizations. You can even work in a hospital. You don't have to get a syringe and, give those injections. But being a teacher is a broad thing. So I chose that because it gives unlimited opportunities to a person. Yes, that's why I chose my career. Miss Whitney, you asked about my career journey. For my career journey, I have taught in different schools, both primary and secondary. I haven't taught in the secondary, the nursery level, but I've taught in primary schools, I've taught in secondary schools. I taught in primary before I finished my university. And we all know being a teacher is a calling. It is a calling. So I think I was called to be a teacher. I have taught before even finishing, before graduating. Means me being a teacher, it was a calling. And I believe I was a great teacher, even to those young children of primary. Secondary, I've taught in different schools, three of them. That was before the lockdown. And good enough, the company that I work with, which is Girls for Tech, as a monitor, we do different projects, but still deal in schools. So I love that. I'm still practicing my career. Thank you, Miss Whitney. Yes, Miss Whitney, about the COVID effect. COVID really affected me so much on personal basis. I had just started practicing my profession. We before graduation, as I told you, I was teaching, and when I finished campus, there are those months before graduation. In my university, we graduate in January, but then you find that we finish the course before. That's around June. So all those months, if you're not careful and if you're not lazy, if you're not interested in working, you'll find yourself at home. So I got schools where I was certain two schools where I was teaching. I would part time. I would teach, and then COVID came. We were locked down. We had not been paid for some time, and then when this lockdown came, still, you know what happens in certain schools? They didn't refund the money. So I found myself being home, very poor. That was one effect. I was so broke, very idle, doing nothing. All I could do is read books, read novels, and watch movies, watch TV. But then that I felt like that wasn't enough. So I had to just venture into something else. I had to look into farming. Actually, that's how I got interested in farming. So I would make research. I would go on YouTube. I check out what kind of farming activities that I could venture in, like the cheap ones. So I found myself in poultry. Poultry was very cheap for me. I ventured into poultry. I bought a few birds. We had some unfinished building at home. So I ventured into that. I I used that building for my birds. I bought food. I remember that we were not allowed to use borders. We're not allowed to use any means of transport. So your legs would just be there for you. So I would walk, go look for the food. I bring it home, the medicine. I would go get the medicine. Like, that is how I managed to overcome the effects of COVID. The lessons I learned from that: number one, I learned to be patient. I really learned to be patient. Why? Now, as I was into that poultry business, those birds could die. Like, they could die one by one, and you're like, God, should I give up? But I had to encourage myself and be patient and like take care of the rest, feed them, make sure they get enough medicine and all that. So that also helped me learn how to be patient. I learned how to be patient. I learned to encourage myself. Trust me, there was no one to give me the encouragement. There was no one to give me the advice. The advice I would get was from the internet. The advice I would get was from myself. So I learned to advise myself. I learned to always encourage myself. And I think that has actually helped me a lot, and that is how I have kept my life going. I encourage myself. I don't wait for any other person to tell me what to do. I always encourage myself. I learned not to waste any minute of my life. I do not waste any minute of my life. These things of being on phone like whole day doing nothing, I learned from that. Also, I learned something apart from encouraging yourself. If someone has advice, please take it up. If someone advises you on something, please take it up. So those are some of the lessons that I learned from the COVID-19 crisis. A teacher, yes, I can see some. Another question is role of a teacher. As a teacher, we have different roles. Which I don't think I can finish. But a teacher is a tutor. A teacher is a great influence of transformation. Like, let it be in any ethical belief. A teacher is just an influence. They tutor children. You know, teaching, like I told you in the beginning, teaching does not stop in class. Teaching goes way beyond from getting chalk and write on the board, getting those writing marks and, marking books. It goes way beyond that. So being a teacher, you're a tutor for the different beliefs, different cultures and norms. Being a teacher is, may I like it, because we tutor children, we show them the different kinds of life, we give them the meaning of life. And another thing, being a teacher, you're a role model. I remember when I was teaching, I was still at campus, but there was this school, I was an assistant teacher. There was a certain child who came up to me, and it was a boy, surprisingly. He told me, but teacher, he was I was senior 2 boy. He told me, teacher, do you know you're my role model? Oh God, I cannot explain how I felt. I cannot explain how that made me feel. But trust me, I had to change my shoes. I had to change the way I dress. I had to change. I would make sure I enter class, I smell so good. I would, like, it gave me courage. I always knew that teachers are role models, but I had not experienced that. So when that boy came to me, it kind of gave me a push. So teachers are role models to different children. When you're a female teacher, we always look at girls, being role models to girls. Even when they tell us to, we always have senior teachers in schools. like senior women in schools, they always have meetings with our girls, but we forget also there are certain boys who look at us and they say, I want to be like that teacher. Maybe when I grow up, I want to get a woman who's like that teacher. So being a teacher is a role model and it feels so good. A teacher is
Thank you
someone
so
who
much, Miss Jerina.
okay. What
Apologies for the network glitch.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Now
Continue.
yes, thank you. A teacher is someone who draws real life connections. For example, when you're teaching, while you're teaching, I will not come to class and I just keep saying, Napoleon did this and this. This and this happened in World War. This and this is no, but when a teacher comes to class, they draw real life connection from the subjects they are teaching, from the different topics that they are teaching. And believe me not, children always pick from that, something that is not done at home. And we all know how children spend a lot of time in school, more than they spend at home. Me, myself, I was in a boarding school. You would find yourself only having 3 months at home. And the rest of the months you're at school, you're in boarding, you're with teachers, you're with matrons. So being a teacher is an external parent. A teacher is an external parent to this child. Let me visualize. A teacher is an external parent to a child. They spend most of their time at school more than at home. I watched some news some time back, and that we had that there are these parents who have really wild kids, and then the parent just says, "Ah, good thing you're going back to school." That the child does something very small. Good thing next week you're going back to school. So we see how teachers really are external parents, and these teachers have to deal with this child. You who is the mother of this child, you're saying, good thing you're going to school. You're giving this kid to someone else, and that person is supposed to be with that child for over 3 months. But some parents fail to live with that kid for even a week. So teachers are really parents. They're the real mothers of the kids, if I may say, and fathers. That it is really broad. I can't maximize it. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Jerina. It is really a beautiful conversation with you. We all believe teachers are really important people in our society because they shape us straight when our parents take us to school, boarding school, to any which campus, university. Teachers are still in our lives, and with all those different roles, I believe some other people inspired to be teachers, like in the future, are really learning something from this conversation, and also the way they impact our society. However, in regards to teachers, there's a way a parent can also be a teacher. Right from the start, when you give birth to your child, the way you groom your child before taking the child to the teachers. So I believe the family is the first school you go to, because they say charity begins from home, charity begins at home, yeah. And how we the parents groom our kids right from the start. Those small social values, like for example religion, like how some children grow up in a religious family, and it takes them until the future, until they reach school, they become leaders in scripture union, in different religious groups. So learning is still part of us, but it also starts from where the families that we come from in regards to our theme today. Thank you so much. I would like to, my other question to you would be, how does school contribute to the development of an individual? What role can school play to solve social problems? Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Whitney. If I heard right, you asked how the school contributes to the development of an individual. First of all, the school is not just a building. The school compromise, like, it has different people, teachers, cooks, the administrators, and all that. So it's not just a building. Uh, so a school provides knowledge to an individual. If I like referring to children because it's usually children who go to school. Even those above 18 go to school, but I would still call them children. So a school provides knowledge to this child. There is always positive knowledge provided to the children, to the child. We can say children. Knowledge that can be used in society, different working skills, different ethical skills, like a lot of. I cannot, like I said, this is a a very broad topic, and knowledge is a very wide thing that you cannot maximize. So when someone goes to school, we all agree it's very hard for a child to come out as they went to school. They learn how to be social with others, how to behave with others, the knowledge they get from school, how to solve certain problems in society and all that. Plus also a school provides an environment, a well-structured environment for a child, for the students, and this environment can help the child know how to behave. The kind of environment you give a child molds them, like it molds them. The kind of environment the school provides molds the child. First of all, it teaches them also a lot of different things. And another thing, the school helps in personal development of an individual. When you're at school, since you learn very different things, you learn different skills. So that's also personal development. We've seen certain schools coming up with certain work skills, hairdressing. They have those programs, hairdressing. They have certain programs of carpentry. So an individual is developed, like him as a person or her, that developed personally. Then also, a school gives positive interaction. A child will always learn how to interact with others, fellow students. They learn how to interact with teachers. They learn how to interact with their friends and all that. Plus, also, a school is a place of character building, if I may say. And we all know that character is part of the academic achievement. With character, I mean respect, I mean love, I mean integrity, harmony, and compassion. All these things I've got in school. I believe there's some that I've got from home, like you said, that charity begins at home, but the school plays a big role. Like I said, we spend most, like 90% of the year in school. So the school really works on this. Then also there's also social development of an individual. When a child is playing in the school playground, they learn how to play in a team. They learn how to play with each other. They learn how to like relate with other people, like I had said. So all, all in all, we believe that schools are really necessary in someone's personal development, in an individual's development.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Serena. I personally have picked a lot. There is a part where I talked about personal development and how the school shapes our environment. For example, let me give you a scenario. If we weren't in school and kids are supposed children, we find so many cases of early pregnancies, school dropouts due to school dropouts. So I can imagine how society would be if there was no education or school. Because school it takes the biggest percentage of us. You find that you clock 18 and you're still in school. So there is no burden of having pregnancies, the different social behaviors that people get when they're outside of school. So I believe school is really a big contribution to us as an individual. Thank you so much.
Very true.
Let's discuss about the role of a community in solving social problems as regards to the field of education.
Um, Thank you so much. A community is our surrounding, if I may say, the people surrounding us. I believe that is community. And a community plays a very big role when it comes to solving problems, and mostly in our field, the education field. Number one, which I believe is number one, when I was starting, I told you how uh, elders would find you coming from the well playing. Some don't even know where you stay. But they believe me, someone would get a cane, they give you strokes. Why have you been sent to the well and you're here playing? So you see how community is involved, and we know, like I told you, education is not all about holding chalk and going to class. So a community acts as a watchdog, a watchdog, like a security dog. So it ensures that education serves people. You'll see that there are certain, up to now, in certain areas nowadays, it is very hard to find someone's child and discipline them. It is very hard, but I believe that there are certain communities in those rural areas where you'll find someone, a parent, even you don't even have to be a parent, they'll find kids playing, they're from school, they've all dirtied themselves, and they'll beat them thoroughly. Go, go, go home. Why are you still on the way? It is coming to 7. So community acts as a watchdog to the children, and this helps them still in their school. And also community leaders have an obligation to teach their people the use of education. Community leaders, we always there are always these programs of where the chairman is instructed, maybe from the government, to have a meeting, to call community people, to call people from the society, educate them, tell them how they are supposed to take their children to school, tell them how child education is important, because we believe there are certain areas where girl education is still stiff. So we see how community is trying and trying to make sure girls go to school, to make sure even boys, to make sure parents see the good in education. Like community is really doing a lot, and it's a very big thing also that we should always look at. We should always consider community when it comes to education, because it plays a very big role when it comes to education. And also we've seen certain rural areas where we see uh, these rural schools. Most of us haven't been to those rural schools, like we didn't study from there, but we've had friends at university who are there. And we see that there are certain people where a community would come up and collect money to buy books. They would collect money to buy school requirements. They would collect fees for a certain child. So when it comes to education, community really plays a big role. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to add on that. I remember personally when we were in lockdown, during lockdown, I was doing an internship somewhere, and we had to carry on, we had to do a sensitization because the problem, it was a rural area, it was back in my village, and realized parents had given up on educating their children, and you'd find them giving their children baskets to carry on their heads to do hawking. So which we regarded as child labor, and then the kids are really what? Ignoring school. But it was the role of the parents to encourage their kids to go to school. So we had to have a general meeting with those community members, and some of them didn't really know the value of education. They would be like, the lockdown, we don't have money. Let me be in the garden as the kids are what? Are hawking so that we get some food, which we found unfair, though they really wanted something to eat, but also using child labor as an excuse for that way the children are being denied education was unfair. And we talked about different things, and the community members had to pin out those particular families they see that have ignored their children in regards to school. And we came to real conclusions whereby some of them kept on telling you, you don't like, you usually send your child to Hawk, what, something like that. And it was a good venture that we did, because most of them really knew. By the end of the meeting, they had realized their mistakes, and most of them promised to take their children to school. And
Wow.
it was a real role of a community, because it was headed by the local chairman, and he knew every family member and all that. Yeah.
That was
However,
so great.
yeah, thank you. You're also an entrepreneur. Can you tell us how important a side hustle is, particularly to a woman? Give us other examples of side hustles a woman can do.
Uh, ah, that is something that I like talking about, but I'm going to summarize. Um, well, personally, I hate begging. I hate begging. Even asking someone for 10,000, let it be 1,000, asking maybe even asking for airtime, let it be data. I even from my own to do that. I hate. So one importance I would say, I would give my number one importance on a personal basis is a side hustle saves you from begging. It will save your life. It will save you from falling in debts. It will save you from begging. Hmm? Now, um, I won't go into a personal basis, but a side hustle, like I've said, it saves you from begging. You get to, like, there are certain hustles where you have to wait maybe at the end for the end of the month, which I sometimes believe that's not a side hustle. That's like still a job. So a side hustle, I believe, is a certain thing you're doing which can give you a daily income. So when you have a daily income, or not, it doesn't have to be daily. Could be weekly. At least if you could earn something out of before even your monthly salary or your monthly allowance, I consider that a side hustle. And also another thing about a side hustle, the importance, it opens your mind, it broadens your brain, your mind, like you become someone who is a critical thinker. Because if you own something, like I told you, during lockdown, I opened up a poultry business. It was small, but I always made sure everything was on point, like something you do not do at a job. I would always find out, how do I make this thing big? How do I make it bigger? How do I make this something so broad that I can earn a living from it? So a side hustle, it helps you think more. It helps you be active. Plus also something I didn't mention, when I was at university, while I was pursuing my degree, I would sell tops. I would wake up very early in the morning, go to Owino. Those who are Uganda know that market. Go to Owino, buy tops at a very cheap price, come to campus. They almost named me a bag because I would have my my pack bag at the back on my back, like every day. So that as I was studying, I was still I still had my side hustle. I didn't have to wait for my parents' allowance. upkeep, I would make sure I had my money on me. So a side hustle is really helpful. Plus, also it helps you save money and invest. So from my poultry business, I saved money. I made sure I kept it, and it's what I invested in. It's what I invested. It's what I used to invest for my farm. Right now, I'm a farmer still. I have a farm of passion fruits. I grow passion fruits. So that is the money that I used. I saved, and now I had to invest it into something else. And I thank God that this is at least bigger than the poultry farm that I had. And yeah, a side hustle is really helpful. It helps you not to rely on one source of income. Imagine you wake up one morning, you teach in a certain school, and that school is burnt down. Like, where do you start from? But if you have your side hustle, it's very hard for you to get into depression just because the school is burnt down. You have a source of income. Like, that's why we see certain people get into depression. Now I've lost my job, I don't know where to start from, I lost my job, what do I do? Someone who has a side hustle, believe me, will never have such things in their mind. They'll say, let me just concentrate on my business, let me do this. So side hustle is really helpful. And you asked me some of the examples of side hustles. I i usually make a lot of research when it comes to side businesses. Number one, like being a teacher, I would say tutoring is a side hustle. We've seen teachers who go beyond, like after class, they have those kids they tutor. They have those kids that, when we are teaching, when we're in class, we always have those quick learners, we have, and the slow learners. And these slow learners, that I don't like calling them slow learners, but I don't have another word to sugarcoat it. They always need extra time. So you've seen certain teachers going beyond, talking to the parents of these kids. If they have the money, they always pay the extra money to these teachers. So these teachers are having that as their side hustle. They go ahead and tutor the kids. They help them perform better. They help them become also quick learners if that's possible. Plus, also, I'm not a social media person, but I have seen some of my friends starting up blogs on social media, advertising certain things, and they are prospering. Their blogs are getting followers, they are earning money, they're using their pages to advertise for people, and they are earning money. Plus, also, you can venture into farming, like I did. I ventured into farming. Uh, Though sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy. That's a side hustle that needs a lot of patience. It needs people who can take up losses, who can take up risks, who believe that even losses are part of life, who, or like I said, who always encourage themselves to still go on, to not give up. So probably those are some of the side hustles that I personally would advise a person to venture into. There are very many, but it depends on what you want, where your interest is, and what you think can work for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Speaking of side hustles, I I think COVID-19 situation taught very many people about having side hustles besides your big job, especially when some people were laid off their jobs, people had to be off employment for some time. But for those who really had side hustles, they didn't find life hard. And others realized during that lockdown situation to start up something besides, like, they shouldn't rely on their real job, but they should have something. I've seen women who are into bakery. I've seen people major into farming. I've seen young people starting up social media accounts. You can see TikTok, and some people are there making different videos on YouTube, and they earn money from it. There are so many side hustles, and I would like to encourage my fellow university students. They should have something. Think of something, however small it is, can do something better in your life other than being a beggar. You call it a beggar, yeah. And also for the teachers taking up the extra classes. I remember in my primary, we had a session whereby when classes end at 4, there's a certain group of people that would stay behind, and the teachers would be like, "Slow learners, don't go anywhere. Slow learners." I don't know why they do use the word slow learners. So when you said slow learners, I went back to my primary school where we had that kind of people, and they were helped because by the end of the day they would gain something, unlike those ones used to go to chill, because the normal classes would end at 4. Those guys had to remain for an extra 1 hour and 30 minutes, and they would help them go through whatever they don't know. And most of them prospered. So it was beneficial to the students as well as the teachers. Though it was a side hustle still because they had to pay. Yeah, so thank you so much for that. What advice do you have for our viewers, our participants, all those watching us, especially the young women, in regards to having better standards of living in the future?
Um, Thank you so much, Miss Whitney. I like the point where you said, why do we call them slow learners? I think we all failed to get a certain word, a certain vocabulary for that. So we all know it's not good to call someone a slow learner. It's somehow disrespectful. Most of them don't like it. But then that's the word, I feel. That's in my own
Yeah,
opinion.
it's
So
the
the
word
advice,
because I was there for some time when I was in
true.
primary.
So the advice for women, I personally am just starting to find value in my life. I'm starting to know what to do for my life. But if I may say, at least I'm somewhere. I have reached somewhere. I'm not at zero. We all know how COVID affected us, and mostly the teachers. I will talk on behalf of teachers. We all know how COVID affected us. Schools were down. Some were parents. I wasn't a parent. Some were parents. They didn't have food for their kids. They didn't have uh, certain resources, electricity, water. People really faced a lot of challenges. But I believe we learned a lot, like we discussed previously. I believe we learned a lot from that situation. Women got up. We saw on news, we used to watch news. Women got up. You cannot believe how much women are now working. You cannot believe how women are now being hardworking people. It is very hard nowadays to find a stay-home mother. If there is a stay-home mother, they at least have something they are doing at home. Some are into decoration. Some decorate. I have a friend. She's a stay-home mom, but she decorates these wine bottles. She puts certain things that me as a person I don't understand. She sells them, and she is making money. So women are no longer the other mothers that we used to have. Even girls. This goes to all girls and plus women and ladies out there. Please do not sit home. Do not waste any minute of your life. Do not rely on anyone. By the way, we're saying that most of the problems come from relying on people. When you're not relying on a person, trust me or not, it's very hard to hear these things of, oh, so a certain guy beat his wife, a certain, like having those misunderstandings. Okay, those misunderstandings can happen in homes, but it is very rare because some come from, I asked him for money, he refused to give me. I asked him for school fees for my children, he refused to give me. They end up in police, they end up fighting, some end up killing each other. If you have your own money, you have your own side hustle, you won't even reach that level. women, like, let's respect each other. We are in an era of .com, and nowadays there is too much .com, in that we are forgetting who we are. Some of us are forgetting who we are. Let's have some self-respect. When you have self-respected, you'll be respected back. Let's learn how to dress. Dressing, like having short things on, does not make you. I don't even have a right word for that. But let's just learn how to respect each other. Let's learn how to dress well. Let's learn how to be clean. Like, just look presentable, dress well. I don't know. That is something very broad that I would like to talk about any other day when it comes to women. Let's work. Let's learn to motivate ourselves, those who are mothers. Let's learn to be there for children. Let's learn to just. And also another thing I would like to talk about as women, yes, we always talk about work, do this, make money, but let's get time for ourselves. Mental health is very important. We rarely look at mental health, but I'm saying this because I have a friend who is into depression. No one knows about it. Even us around her did not know that the girl was depressed. Let's also put some focus on mental health. Stress is too much. A lot is going on in the world, in our society, in our families, but let's also mind our mental health. As much as you work, get some time to rest. Rest is needed. So it's a lot that I would tell women to do. First, work, be disciplined, dress well, live as an example. As a woman, get to know that there is someone looking at you as a role model. Please don't disappoint them. So thank you so much.
Wow. I believe the young people out there, the young boys and girls, to all the viewers, I believe we really learned something from this conversation. However, I would like to add on what she has said. You have to, number one, I think the first thing you have to do is believe in yourself. If you want to try out something small, actually, you may call it a small hustle, you may see it as something small, but you never know what the future holds. I've seen, I have a friend of mine, she started small into decoration, and right now she's really very good at what she does. She has majored into decoration at different events. She has even started employing different people, but she's a young person like me. And we started small, and she's living her dream right now. I can't say she's on top of it, but she's somewhere. The other example of a girl, I would say she's into crochet. Miss Jarina, I think you know the crochet stuff, the handmade thing. She's really so good. Like, she's extremely good. She makes bags, she makes a lot of things. And personally, I also learned something during that idle time when we were just home. I was in school, COVID. I used my internet. One time I said, let me try to, because we used to spend a lot of time home. So I said, let me use this lockdown to teach myself something. I used to go online. I check out different videos of how people use the needle and like they do the different crochet stuff. And I learned something. I always wanted to have a skill besides my education. Like, what do you have besides your education? There's that small thing you should at least put in yourself. Sometimes you don't need to go to school to teach yourself something. But to the young people, I think we can use our online platforms. Just put your data, use your phone. Google can tell you everything you want to learn. Be it all those activities, those small activities, baking, everything. All those things are online. And I believe we can use the internet very well to venture into different aspects of our lives in regards to our future and be the strong women we've always wanted to be. And to be the role models and be a living example in the world there. Yeah, so I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Miss Jerina. It was really a great conversation. It was great hosting you today. Thank you so much for all the beautiful words of wisdom, encouragement to us, to the viewers, and the different people out there. And I would like to add on something. I think we should learn to be involved in various social organizations within our communities. You can take you can take you can take a role in Rotary clubs. You could find ways of being active other than keeping to yourself. I think it can also be good to help us. You talked about us to be open-minded and being what? To be able to network with different people, to be able to associate with different people regardless of who they are, to respect one another. And you have really learned a lot. Thank you so much, Ms. Serena. However, on behalf of Girls for Tech and Innovation Africa, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Ms. Serena Namatov, for taking time and effort to be with us today. You are a very strong woman. You've really had a great impact on us today with your testimonies, your life journey. Thank you so much. And to our online participants, we thank you so much for being with us today. We wish you a great day. Stay safe and stay blessed. Have a good night. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night and a good day. Thank you.